So universe has its own algorithm. And it's always, sending you stuff that you're looking for. So as long as we keep our eyes open, I think signs just keep showing. So there was this young girl who used to come to me. She came to me many times, and she one day came and told me, Nita, Auntie, I had this exam history paper. I hate history. I didn't want to study for it. So till the last minute, I did not study for it. I think as parents, we should actually help our kids also develop their intuition, follow, what they feel like doing a little more so that they learn to trust themselves. Nobody ever taught us that emotions are important. We were, in fact, always told, don't be so emotional, don't be so sensitive. But I think that emotions are so important. When the Wright brothers first thought that, oh, we should be able to fly. And so they created the airplane. If they had thought, okay, I've got to be realistic and not think about such silly things, then we would not yet be flying, right? So I think it's very realistic to have dreams, and we should have lots of them. She came to a point where she said, Nita, from now, today, I'm starting this from today. From today, I will eat whatever I'm eating, and I will eat one spoonful of Nutella every day, and I will still lose weight at the end of the month.
Also, I have seen so many videos on manifesting your specific person. Now, I don't know whether it is good to do that because that person has his or her own free will and her or his own vibration.
Absolutely. The person you're looking for is also looking for you. But
Hi, this is Akanksha. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul podcast and a talk show. This is part 2 of a 2-part conversation. If you have not watched part 1, then we highly recommend that you watch that. The link for that is provided in the video description. We have with us today Manifestation Coach Nita Sundararaju with a 1,000-watt smile. Nita and I belong to a wonderful community of coaches, and that's why we have that bond of sisterhood. A very warm welcome, Nita, on Multidimensional Soul talk show and podcast. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's actually an absolute honor for me to be here today. When you invited me, you told me a few things that left me feeling so wonderful. And it was like I was so enthusiastic about being here today. So enthusiastic. Thank you, Akansha.
Thank you. I'm excited too, and it's an honor to have you here. So, at times I have heard people saying, some people say that, okay, dream big, dream for the moon. There's nothing wrong with it. The universe is ready to give. And in the corporate world, we are taught, like, okay, be realistic. What is the realistic goal that we are going to achieve in the next 3 months, 6 months? And we are so taught to plan everything out that we don't leave anything to unfold and the magic of unfolding. So there is, on one hand, we are kind of somewhere we know that, okay, it's okay to dream big, and at the same time we are taught that we have to be realistic and take this systematic strategy, plan, goals, and steps. Otherwise, we will not achieve the desired results. So, how do you balance these two things?
First of all, I feel dreaming big is the most realistic thing you can do. Because until you dream, until you think about something, how are you going to get there, right? There's no way to get. Everything starts first in your imagination and in your thought. Even those who, you talk to any inventor, any of the big inventors that have created all the stuff that we take for granted now, you talk to them, they'll obviously tell you that they first had an idea. The Wright brothers first thought that, oh, we should be able to fly. And so they created the airplane. If they had thought, okay, I've got to be realistic and not think about such silly things, then we would not yet be flying, right? So I think it's very realistic to have dreams, and we should have lots of them. And when you have to work in a corporate culture and you have to have your structure, I mean, go ahead and have your structure. There's nothing wrong with that either. Just that you keep your dreams alive. in your imagination, no one's controlling you. In your day-to-day work life, yes, you do have to do certain things and you go ahead and do them, but no one can restrict you in your imagination. And if you stay with your imagination, you don't necessarily have to talk to everybody about it. But go ahead and imagine what you want to imagine. Go ahead and think about it. Go ahead and dream about it and stay with it until it feels good to you, you know. And the more it starts feeling good to you, the more you stay with it and the more good it feels. You will find that in spite of all the structural work that you're doing in the office, something is falling into place and you're moving towards that dream. So, uh, I used to work for a corporate office. I mean, I used to be in corporate communications, and I also had to follow deadlines. I also had to do everything that I had to do. It was never my thing, but I did it because I had to. But then, things happened in such a way that I quit the job. I spent some time at home because that's what I wanted to do at that time. But then coaching came along, and that I feel that, it was the whole journey of me, having worked for a certain number of years, experienced it, and then spending time at home after that, that made me realize that this is what I want to do. If I hadn't gone through all of that, how would I have reached this place? So all of those things that you're going through, which are sometimes not wanted, not enjoyed, not something that we find very pleasant, are also always taking you towards what you want. So I feel whatever it is that you're doing, do it with full 100% yourself in it. Give it all and keep your dreams alive in your imagination at all times. And there is no doubt that you will get there sooner or later.
Yeah. So when you talk about, in your case, the corporate setup was different and your dreams came along. But
Yes.
like when you dream big and you want to kind of have it here in this realistically,
Yes.
you have to act also. You have to
Yes,
imagine,
of course you have to act.
then act
Of
also.
course. Of course.
So that action part, do you suggest that you plan too much? Do you suggest that okay, don't plan too much and take every day at a time, or what do you suggest people go
So
about?
what I say is you can plan. If you're a planner, you will plan. And if you're not a planner, you're not going to plan. So I'm not going to tell you whether you should plan or not plan. What I will tell you though is first find a way to raise your vibrations. Feel good about where you want to be. Feel good about it now. And then your intuition will tell you which action is going to work best for you.
Hmm.
So I do feel that, it's not like I didn't do anything. I mean, to get certified as a coach, I had to study, I had to do my stuff, I had to go through the exams and all of that. So it's not that there was no action taken on my side also. Of course, you have to take actions. But action comes only after you worked on your vibration. Vibration first, action later. Vibration first, action later. This is something that I keep repeating to everybody who comes to me. Vibration first, action later. So when your vibration is high, I feel you need to do less action and get more result. So do that first. Do that first, and then I mean there are so many examples I can give you. There was this young girl who used to come to me. She came to me many times, and she was very open and understanding of what I was teaching her and what I was telling her. And she one day came and told me, Nita, auntie, I had this exam, history paper. I hate history. I didn't want to study for it. So till the last minute, I did not study for it. But I knew this, that I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling very confident about the whole exam setup. And I was feeling very good about the exam also. So the day before the exam, I felt I should at least look through my history book. And in that very confident, very good feeling place, she just flipped through her history book, read a few things, and when she went for the paper, she realized exactly the things that she read had come in the paper. So she did very well in the history paper. Now, if I tell this to most parents, they're going to tell me, please don't talk to our children because you're going to teach them not to study. But it's not about that. It's about feeling good and then intuitively following what comes to you. So I think that your intuition is such a strong aspect of you, such a strong sense, which also is something that we don't develop early enough. As children, I think as parents, we should actually help our kids also develop their intuition, follow, what they feel like doing a little more so that they learn to trust themselves more. And then I feel that, once your intuition is strong, it always tells you what to do next. And then when you follow that, your action, of course, you're going to take action. There's going to be nothing happening without action. So you have to take action, but after you're feeling good and follow that intuition. And that action will always take you where you want to be. So, yes, of course, action.
Yeah, true, true. How do you suggest that people develop that intuition so that they can take the right action based on their intuition?
So, I think everything needs practice. So, if I get a thought that, okay, I should call somebody, then most of the time, what do I say? I'm like, okay, I'm busy right now, I'll call later. No, but if I'm getting a thought, I should call somebody, I should call somebody right there. Trust ourselves a little more. Trust your thoughts, trust what's coming up for you. And remember that as long as you're feeling good when it's coming up. Supposing I'm feeling very worried about something, I'm like worried that, okay, this war between Russia and Ukraine, or this war between Israel and Iran right now. Oh God, it's going to spread and it's going to come to India, and I don't know what we are going to do. And if I'm in that worry, and at that time I get a thought that I should call somebody, then I'm getting a thought from that place of worry. That's not intuition, that's worry. But when I'm feeling good and I get a thought, intuitive thought that, okay, call somebody or go for a walk, or, just start writing something, whatever it is that comes, when I'm feeling good and that thought comes, I must follow it. And the more I follow it, sometimes it may actually lead to something, sometimes it may not. But as long as I keep trusting myself and keep doing it, I will see that more often than not, it is guiding me towards what I want. And then as I keep practicing, it becomes very strong. So if you want to build your intuition muscle, start now, follow what it tells you, listen to it, and then keep doing it no matter what happens next.
Okay. There's a saying of Paulo Coelho that when you want something, the whole universe conspires to give it to you. And the way universe conspires is the universe speaks through signs and synchronicity. And we also have spirit guides and angels who help us. That's my experience. What is your experience? Have you observed synchronicities and getting guidance from spirit guides? And how do you create more synchronicities?
So, yes, I do believe that there are guides. I do believe that there are signs and synchronicities. That's happened with me so many times that I can't not believe in it. I mean, I find that, the more I see it openly, the more I find that things are just falling in my lap, without me having to work for something. I will not say work for, I will say work hard for something. Things just happen. So, lately I've been thinking of getting on podcasts, Akansha. Okay. And it's just happened, you know. And this is just one example. There are so many others that I can give you that, I've been.
You mean being a guest on podcasts?
Yes. So recently, actually, I'm part of a community which has started a podcast where I'm a host. Okay. And so I've been hosting podcasts, and I've been thinking that, hosting is fun, but I want to be doing more of guests
Okay.
work too. And so that's happening. I didn't have to do too much for it. It's happening.
That's what my guides actually told me. Call her. And then, like I told you, right, the questions also come to me as channeled questions, and they started
Yes,
flowing
yes.
so much that before brushing, I had to take notes
Note
and
them
write
down.
down everything.
Yes, yes. And that was so exciting for me because I was like, okay, I've asked for this and it's just come. So, so yeah, it's very exciting to see, when you ask for something and it just starts falling in your lap. And one way that the universe converses with you is through signs, you know. And whatever is very meaningful to you, the universe knows what's meaningful to you. So for me personally, I find that I love butterflies. Okay, they'll show up somewhere or the other, and then I find, okay, this means something. This means something to me, and something or the other will always work out. There are so many people who find numbers very meaningful. I do find numbers meaningful too. Yeah, you'll see 1111, or you'll see something that is very synchronistic. So yes, there are lots of ways that the universe is conversing. You're thinking of something and it shows up in front of you. So universe has its own algorithm and it's always sending you stuff that you're looking for. So as long as we keep our eyes open, I think signs just keep showing up, and it's always always guiding us. So again, I think guides are also somebody who you've always found. You've loved somebody and they've moved on, or you've looked up to somebody and then you get guidance from there. So universe knows who you will listen to, and then sends us those people as our spirit guides. So I definitely believe in that 100%.
You said the universe will send you guides. Many times we don't know who are our guides. And what's your understanding? Do we need to know really who are our guides, or we just kind of follow their guidance and s- follow our own discernment also at the same time? And in any case, the guides will never impose anything on you because they never interfere against your free will. So, how do you recommend that? How do you work with guides? How do you identify that, okay, these are your guides? And also, are there any signs? I had heard that, for example, when you see 1111 a lot, which means that your manifestation is close, that you're almost about to manifest something that you desire. So, how do you know that your manifestation is close?
I think there are many different ways that you know. But first, I'll answer the question about the guides. You don't necessarily need to know your guides, but you can ask for guides that you want, and you'll get them. So I think sometimes people ask for the people they've loved and who've moved on, because it's easier for them to receive from them. So through them. So yes, so sometimes it's people. Sometimes for certain people it's also the especially in Indians, we have so many gods and goddesses, right? And some of us like to get guidance from them, so we can look at those as our spirit guides. So it's again, it's a very individual thing, and I feel we can choose our spirit guides also. It's not that we don't have a choice in the matter. Universe sends us somebody and we've got to accept it whether we like it or not. We can choose our guides. Most of the time we do choose our guides. And It's just that sometimes if we haven't specifically chosen our guides, your guidance is anyway coming to you. It's not like, acha, you didn't choose any guide, so now you're left on your own, now you manage. Universe never does that. You're always being guided. So if you just listen to your intuition, your guides are speaking to you through your intuition at all times. Whoever they are, it doesn't matter if you haven't identified them at all, also. They're still speaking to you. So if you listen to your intuition and you don't identify any particular guide, you're still being guided, and just go ahead and follow that. That's not a problem at all. Sometimes, supposing I've asked for a romantic relationship, okay? And then I find a person, I'm in that relationship, and then that relationship falls apart. Okay. And I say, Ari, but I had asked for this relationship and the universe gave it to me also. Now, why did it take it away? The universe is not taking anything away. The universe is helping you to clarify even more what you want in a relationship. Now, these things that come along, these other relationships that didn't work out, they are helping you to clarify more. In the meantime, you'll see, oh, your friend is in a relationship, or somebody else is in a relationship, and they're very happy. And then you feel, oh, they got it, but I didn't. How is that happening? But when you see more people getting into relationships, it means now you're so focused on relationships that you're seeing even other people in relationships, which means that you're actually close to your manifestation. because you're so focused on relationships. But if you take it like, okay, they are, but I'm not, then again you're pushing it away. Can you be happy for what's happening around you? Then, you get closer and closer to your manifestation. When you're on a ship, this is again an explanation that I got from Abraham Hicks, and I find it very useful. If you're on a ship and you've been on the ship for days and days and days together, how do you know when you're coming close to land before you see the land? How do you know? You'll see pieces of wood and pieces of maybe coconuts and stuff drifting by. It's called driftwood, right? So when you see driftwood, it means you're close to land. So these things you see, other people getting relationships, other people getting what you want, these are driftwood, which means that you're getting close to what you want. So always find a way to see it that way, so that you're happy for them rather than feeling jealous. Because the moment you feel jealous, it's because you're thinking you don't have it. And the moment you feel that way, you're pushing it away again. So when you feel happy for somebody else for getting something that even you wanted, it means you're ready to receive now.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Yeah, what you call driftwood. I had heard about breadcrumbs. Then the universe will keep giving you little.
Yes, very true. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, manifesting love is very tricky because when you're talking about manifesting a love relationship, love, I mean romantic love, I'm talking.
Romantic relationship.
It there is a dependency on other person.
Yes.
Everything else, you you kind of work on yourself and then manifest that. Also, I've seen so many videos on manifesting your specific person. Now, I don't know whether it is good to do that because that person has his or her own free will and her or his own vibration. And that
Absolutely.
if you are not in alignment with that, then there is no point in getting obsessed that I want this specific person. And so, what is your understanding about manifesting a specific person and manifesting in general romantic love? How should people go about doing that?
It's the same as anything else, actually, Akansha. Whether it's money I want, or a job I want, or a relationship that I want, I feel if you're obsessing over anything, then you're in a place of desperation. And when you're in a place of desperation, you're going to manifest more desperation. Very clearly, whatever vibration you're at, you're going to manifest more of that. So we only have one job to do, raise our vibes. Now, specifically in case of relationships, if I know what I want in a relationship, you know, I want to be in a relationship that is loving. I want to be in a relationship that is, that gives me a sense of belonging, that gives me the companionship that I want, that, it gives me the feeling of security, it gives me the feeling of safety, all of that. Okay, now I've listed that this is what I want. Now, if I also start listing why I want these things, why do I want to be in that relationship? Why do I want to be, feeling that? Why do I want that sense of belonging? Why do I want that love? Once I start writing that, the what and the why, then I start feeling very good about it. Because I'm thinking about what I want, I'm thinking about why I want it. I feel very good about it. Now, if I think about how I'm going to get it, I don't really know yet how I'm going to get it. So the moment I start thinking about how, then what happens is that a doubt pops in. I don't really know how. So maybe it may or may not work. I don't know if this will work or that will work. So I don't know the answer to how. I don't know the answer to when it will happen. I really don't know the answer to who it is that is going to be the person. So these are questions that I should put aside for now. I should focus on what I want and why I want it, and stay with that until I'm feeling so good about it that then automatically the who, the what, the how pops into my mind organically. I don't want to force the who, the what, and the who, the when, and the how. I want that to happen very organically. So until I can let it happen organically, I should keep my focus on what and why. So what I really want to do is I want to actually raise my vibe so much that I attract a person who is matching that vibe. And that person will have to show up in my life. Not because I forced him to or her to, but because they match the vibration, and they are also looking for the same thing. The person you're looking for is also looking for you. But until you match vibrations, they can't show up in your experience. So when I match my vibration to that vibration, then that person has to show. And I really don't even need to focus on who that person is going to be. If that person is going to be somebody I have in mind, then and the vibration matches, that person will show up. But if the vibration doesn't match, no matter what you do, that person cannot show up. So what we have to do is match our vibrations. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. So rather than focusing on manifesting a specific person, focus on the version that you want to be in
Yes.
order to attract
Yes.
that love or that relationship.
Yes, absolutely. Focus on the version that you want to be in that relationship and focus on how you want to feel in that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. You have talked raising our vibration a lot, and we all know that the entire game is of vibration and alignment. And when we raise our vibration and align ourselves with the desired reality, the reality has to come. And there
Yes.
is a saying of Einstein, which I love, that you match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but achieve it. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So,
Absolutely.
so how do we raise our vibration? What are some of the ways that you can suggest?
So first of all, we need to understand what it means to raise our vibrations. We don't have machines to measure our vibrations at all times, right? So what we do is we translate. We translate vibration into emotion. So the better you feel, the higher your vibes. The worse you feel, the lower your vibes. Now, to understand that we want to feel better, first you've got to identify your feelings. What am I feeling right now? And if I'm not feeling good, do I want to stay here or do I want to shift? If I'm feeling good, anyway, I'm feeling good, so that's not a problem. So, um, so now to understand, feelings are something that we've never, again, no one ever taught us to focus on our feelings. Nobody ever taught us that emotions are important. We were, in fact, always told, don't be so emotional, don't be so sensitive. But I think that emotions are so, so important, when we want to get through life. Emotions is not something you can do away with. We are humans, we are going to feel. So, if we are going to feel, we might as well make the best of those feelings. So, I feel we should understand where we are emotion wise and then find ways to feel a little better. Now the thing is, emotions come from thoughts. If I think a certain kind of thought, I'll feel good. If I think a different kind of thought, I'll feel bad. No, the more I am in a state of appreciation about things around me and about myself, then I feel good. But if I'm thinking in terms of all that's going wrong, then I'll definitely feel bad. So it's my job to now find a thought that feels a little better to me. So I have to keep checking. I feel during the day, at least 3 to 4 times during the day, check with yourself, how are you feeling? And do you want to feel that way? Do you want to continue to feel that way or not? So I feel that's one thing that we can definitely do for ourselves, keep checking in on how we are feeling. And secondly, then to shift our thoughts to feeling better than wherever we are. And I feel wherever we are, we can still feel a little better. Even if I'm at, you know, um, a feeling of hope, which is a positive feeling, I can still feel a little better than that. And if I'm feeling very passionate about, some work that I'm doing, I can feel better than that also. So there is always a better feeling available to us. Always. So there is always a way to keep moving one step forward. So it's our job to find a way to feel, move one step forward, feel a little better. So anything that helps us. Sometimes it can be, if I'm feeling very down, sometimes I feel that, watching something very funny on Netflix or on TV or something, it helps me to just distract myself and feel slightly better. Then I feel, that if I'm in a good mood already, then I feel that if I, look at anything that I love, and appreciate that a little more, then I feel even better than what I was feeling earlier. So, there are different ways to feel better. I feel meditation is one thing that raises your vibes instantly. It's just a 10-minute thing, but it will raise your vibes. So meditation is one thing that I do feel that we should do. um, then there are always ways to ask yourself, is there a thought that can feel better to me? I'm thinking this right now. Like I'm thinking this person I've got to meet today is such a pain in the ass, but I've got to meet that person. Now can I find a thought that feels better to me? You know? Because we have to, right? We have meetings and we have to deal with people. Sometimes people we don't like. So can I find a way to think about it differently? Once I'm done with that meeting, I'll have accomplished this. So I know that even though that person is not so much fun to deal with, I will still have accomplished something and I want to accomplish that. So that's a different way to think about it. Then I'll feel less terrible about having to meet that person. So in that way, I'll just move a little upwards emotionally. So these are little things that we can do for ourselves, just to raise our vibes teeny tiny bits. And you don't have to jump. No quantum leaps are required. Just teeny tiny steps. That is what I feel that we should do all the time. Teeny tiny steps forward. That's all. And you realize before you know it, you've actually moved a whole long way forward. And it hasn't even been an effort because you took small steps and you were okay with those small steps.
So you don't recommend any quantum manifestation techniques?
No,
No?
no, because you can't sustain quantum. I feel quantum can happen once in a while, but you can't sustain it. It's always better to go for something that you can sustain. And sustainability is very, very important. Small steps forward constantly. That is more sustainable than a quantum leap. Always. So,
Okay.
yeah, small steps.
So you mean to say that even if through a quantum leap or quantum manifestation, you achieve something, you may not be able to stabilize and sustain it in your reality.
Yes, yes, yes. I do feel that. Yes.
Okay. You talked about feeling even better than hope. And hope is something that everybody says that hope is the best kind of feeling. But at the same time, hope keeps you in a waiting
Yes,
feeling.
exactly.
And that is not a very good feeling then.
No, it's
So,
not. In fact, I also find that hope is a mix of two feelings.
yeah.
There is a positiveness to it that, okay, you're looking forward, but there is also a little bit of, pulling you back,
Yeah.
that, there is a little sense of doubt there. Hope is not so, there's not a sense of surety that, okay, yes, it's happening. There is a sense of doubt, maybe it will. So, yes, there is a little bit of a mix there.
So what's better than hope? And can you talk a little bit about law of assumption?
So, yeah, so what is better than hope? I think amongst positive feelings, everything else is better than hope is at the bottom of the positive feelings, according to me, because it still has a little bit of that negative. But I feel what is best is knowing. Even more believing comes after hope, but knowing is, I think, at the highest. That I just know that this is happening. When you go to a restaurant and you place an order, say I go to a restaurant and I say I want man chow soup. Am I hoping that the soup will come, or I know that it's going to come? So hope is uh, not that great a feeling, but knowing definitely is. It's like, yes, I'm sure it's happening, and then it does happen. you know so yeah, so knowing is definitely a place you want to be in. Knowing that it's a place of faith, because it hasn't yet happened yet, and that it's happening anyways. No matter what happens, what you want is going to happen. So that's a place of knowing, that's a place of faith. And I think that's very, 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 very important, because when you are in faith, you're actually aligned with your inner being, because your inner being knows that what you want is coming. Your soul knows what you want is coming, and you are matching you know your inner being at that point, that yes, I know it's coming. So that's a great place to be. Yeah, and you said law of assumption. So what is the law of assumption according to you?
Yeah, it's the same thing. You just assume and it's done.
Yes,
Because you know that actually it is there. It
yes,
exists as one of the realities, and it is knowing that it is done. It is.
it is done, because the moment you ask, it is done. So now when you're in that knowing, that yes, what I've asked for is done already. Now all I have to do is match my frequency, match my vibration to that. and it will show up in my experience also. So that's just exactly what it is. So it is actually understanding really how the universe works. That's what the law of assumption is. Understanding that the moment you ask, it exists in the universe, and all you have to do is know that it is there, relax about it. You don't have to ever worry again about it, and then match frequencies, and then you're sorted. So that's what the law of assumption actually tells you. So relax, chill, have a good time.
Still, yeah. Yeah. So there are people I've seen that they are joyful, but at the same time they feel stuck because they have somewhere deep within their subconscious a belief of unworthiness,
Hmm.
that they feel that they're not worthy of uh, getting these things, kind of
Yes,
the
yes,
abundance or the love that
yes.
somebody is offering. So, what do you suggest? What can they practice on daily basis? Some simple practices to work and get out of that.
So I'll tell you what, um, you know, the fact that you said that they feel unworthy, I think that is such an important point, when it comes to manifesting what you want in your life, manifesting abundance. Because until you feel you deserve that abundance, you won't allow it to show up in your life. So, so what they really need to do is feel that for themselves, feel that sense of worthiness. And that is why I recommended this earlier also, self appreciation. Sometimes in the beginning, most people find it difficult to appreciate themselves. If that is the case, start with appreciating things around you. We always find it easier to give things to people, but we will not give ourselves good things. Like, I know in the beginning, I remember this about myself. I would buy things for everybody in the family, but not me. I wouldn't buy for myself. I would say, nahi, nahi, chalega, mujhe. I don't need it. It's okay. I will manage. So I realized over years that that was a habit that I did have, and that came from a sense of unworthiness. So, they all deserve it, I don't. That kind of thing. So, people who don't allow abundance in their life are also in that same place. And really, what works is find that sense of worthiness, because who are you really? No matter where you are in life, no matter um, how successful or unsuccessful you are, how old or young you are, it doesn't matter. Who are you? You are a part of the universe. You are the child of God, and you deserve everything that the universe has to offer. So claim it. Claim it because it's yours. But if you feel that sense of unworthiness, of course you're going to have to put in that little bit of work, a little bit of work to raise that sense of worthiness, and that comes from appreciating. It does not come from putting yourself down at all times, which is what we tend to do. So, and I've seen that people who are practicing this for years they also get into this habit, that today I wasn't able to do it. Today I was feeling very bad about something. Something went wrong and I got very angry. But I've been doing this for years and I should not have got angry. I should have been able to control myself. That is also putting yourself down. So, yeah, so we need to stop doing this. We need to really, really understand that we are on a path and we are moving forward, and it's okay to at some times falter. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. And we need to start appreciating whatever little we are able to do.
Yeah, it's so true that we tend to judge ourselves all the time. And
Yes,
all, as humans, we all are imperfect. There's no such thing as perfect human being. So it's okay
absolutely.
to have those feelings. And as you rightly said, that women actually are taught to prioritize themselves the last.
Absolutely.
And that's why we always, like in India especially, uh, you serve everybody, everybody has their meal, then we eat.
Then you eat.
Everybody has their shopping and everything that they want, and then if there is budget left, then I mean, this is the typical middle class, lower middle class, and
Yes,
tendency
very much.
in India that
Yes,
is more than 80%, or I think more than 90% population.
correct.
So
Very true.
so can you tell us some stories of yourself and your clients of manifestation?
Oh my God, there are so many. What would you like to hear about?
As
Um,
many as you can share.
so I'll start with myself. When I met my husband the first time I saw him, I felt this is the guy I want to be friends with. 1 month later we were dating, and 6 years after that we got married. But it was like an instant connect, and it's not like I didn't face any opposition. I faced a lot of opposition, um, from my family, from some from his also. But ultimately, what I wanted, and what I wanted, I did get. So yeah, so that was one of the first things that I can say, in my grown up life that happened. There was things in my childhood also all the time. I always noticed, even as a child, that if I really want something very badly, it always works out. It always does. No matter what it is, it always works out. So I think innately, I always knew that if I want something, it will come to me. So that has continued throughout my life. And even now, it strengthens every day, I should say, because there are so many things that just fall into my lap. So yeah, so things always do work out for me, and I've been noticing that things fall into my lap. Anything that I want, there are, like, I don't even know how much I can say about this, but yeah, if I want to work with somebody, that somebody will generally call me and say, "Chalo, let's do something." If I think about wanting to create something, I will get ideas fatafat, very quickly. And then I'll, start working on it. And believe me, I think ChatGPT is something I asked for. I've manifested this. So
I think all of us collectively
we all
manifested it.
have. There is no doubt about this, because I feel, it's an ask that has simplified life for so many of us. We definitely have asked for it. And I think, I see a lot of people fearing it also a little bit, and I feel, nahi, we have asked for it. Why are you afraid of something that you have asked for? So yeah, so that's these are stories from me. I see my daughter telling me, things like, mom, this exam went off very well, because just because I decided I want to study this, and this, and then that is what happened. Even when she's with her friends, she's told me that, this worked out just the way you had explained it to me, and I was quite aware of it. And then, uh, you know, sometimes, she even comes and tells me, I don't miss that person. I miss what the fun that I had with that person. Because at one point I had explained this to her, that, you don't miss people, you miss the fun that you have with them. And then she told me, mom, you were right. It's exactly like that. When she was going through a bad time with one friend, and afterwards she came and told me that, mom, I don't miss that friend. I miss the fun I had with that person. So I realized that, people around me are also getting a sense of it. And with my clients, of course, there are so many stories. There have been people um, who've started feeling better, even physically, because they understood how things work. And they've been able to get rid of any small or big discomfort that they had in their body. So I would not ever like to say that I've cured them. No, I haven't. I'm not a doctor. I don't do such things. But I know that I do help them find ease. And that has worked for a lot of people. I find that people also have come and told me that they feel better about themselves. And I find that that is the biggest win for me, when people come and tell me that they feel good about themselves, because ultimately I think that is the goal. No matter what we want, we want anything that we want because we want to feel good about it. And when we feel good about ourselves, then it's easy to feel good about anything that's around us. So when people come and tell me, a lot of people have come and told me that, Nita, after a session with you, I feel so good about myself, that I feel that, yes, okay, I'm doing something. I'm really doing something worthwhile.
Yeah, beautiful. So, have you been practicing manifestation for many years? Because you said that your husband also You kind of manifested. So did you
No,
use any
I had
technique?
no idea. I had no idea at that point about anything called the law of attraction.
Okay.
But now looking back, I can see that's what it was. Um, because again, law of attraction is like gravity. You don't use it; it uses you. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you are aware of it or not, it is applying itself to everything
Correct. Yeah. It is there.
because it's all about vibration and frequency.
Yeah.
So vibration and frequency, the laws of vibration and the laws of frequency affect everything. So you can't use something. I mean, you can't decide to say, okay, I'm going to use the law of attraction today and tomorrow I will not use it. It's applying itself. It's like saying, okay, today I will jump and I will not fall down because today I'm not using gravity. You can't do that, right?
Hmm.
um, it applies itself to everything. So the law of attraction has been applying itself to everything in my life. Only thing is, I didn't know then that that is what it was. But looking back now, I can see that yes, that is what it was, and it has always been working in my life. So
Amazing.
that actually helps me to feel good that it's always working. No matter what I do, it's going to work. So all I have to do is just feel good. Raise my vibe.
Yeah. Can you share any story of your client where the manifestation looked absolutely impossible and still it happened?
I think when they come to me, most of them feel it's impossible. Uh, but I never have seen it as impossible. So for me to say that would be okay. Which one shall I tell you about? Okay, I'll tell you this one, which is very, very interesting. So there was this girl. She came to me saying that I want to lose weight. Okay, but I don't want to give up eating what I do eat. And I said, it's never been about that. It's never been about your food. It's always been about. And so we discussed law of attraction in a lot of different ways. I had explained stuff to her. And finally, at the end of a few discussions, she came to a point where she said, Nita, from now, today, I'm starting this from today. From today, I will eat whatever I'm eating, and I will eat one spoonful of Nutella every day, and I will still lose weight at the end of the month. She decided this is what I want to do. And at the end of the month, she had lost weight. It was like, you know, it was such a big moment of realization for her that really it wasn't the food that mattered. It was the way she thought about it. And it was such a big win for her also and for me also. Even though it feels like something very trivial, but it was such a big win.
Okay, I ask a few questions to all my guests towards the end. Can I ask you those?
Of course,
Yeah. If you were to explain multidimensional soul to anybody, how would you explain?
multi-dimensional soul. Okay. I think I would just say that that's who you are. You know, you are here, you are there, and you are everywhere. So you have access to different dimensions at all times, and the one you see is the one you choose to see out of all the dimensions. But you have access to them all.
Okay. What is holistic well-being?
I think holistic well-being includes well-being in every area of your life, which means physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of that.
What is the ultimate purpose of life?
Joy,
What is love?
who you are. I think that's who everyone is. We are all love, and we come from there. We go back to it.
Okay. What is self-love?
Self-love is just expression of who we are because who we are is love. So when we ex- express it to ourselves and appreciate ourselves, that's what self-love is.
Okay. And what's your parting message for our audience?
My parting message would be just find a way to be happy because everything else works itself out. You just find, if you feel you want something and that is going to make you happy, take a shortcut to the happiness, get there first and let the other thing follow. Just get happy right now.
Okay. And how can people connect with you?
On Instagram, on LinkedIn, I'm there. Both my links are available. We can maybe, I don't know, put them up somewhere. And
Yeah, yeah. I'll put them
yeah,
up in the video description. Yes.
yeah. So DM me on my Instagram, DM me on LinkedIn. I'm there.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been absolutely lovely having you here. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and Akanksha, I hope we'll keep chatting.
Yes, we will. We'll be in touch. We'll stay connected.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.